Okay, so many of you will know at the charity foodforthebrain.org, we've been testing people's cognitive function. We've actually tested 380,000 people now. And when you do the questionnaire, the test, because the cognitive function test is interactive, you then fill in a questionnaire called the Dementia Risk Index, and that works out your risk across 8 factors. And we're focusing particularly here on brain fats and B vitamins. Now, the reason for this is if you look at the US National Institute of Health, they have attributed 22% of the entire risk for Alzheimer's to raised homocysteine, which is lowered by B vitamins, and 22% to a lack of seafood and a low level of omega-3. Professor David Smith and his group at Oxford University, when they gave homocysteine-lowering B vitamins, what they were able to show was almost 9 times less shrinkage in the Alzheimer's areas of the brain. And remember, the best amyloid drug has reduced brain shrinkage by 2%. In terms of total brain shrinkage, this was 73% less brain shrinkage. Now, in the film that you may have seen, you will notice that phosphatidylcholine, which is a phospholipid, very rich in eggs, also rich in fish, has to be bound to DHA, omega-3 DHA. Now, if you eat flax and chia seeds, you're not getting DHA. You can make a little bit of DHA, but really very little. So it's oily fish, or if you're vegan, a vegan DHA supplement that provide DHA, but it has to link to the phosphatidylcholine in order for the brain to work. That's the point, phosphorylated DHA. Now, what David Smith originally did was just to give people with pre-dementia B vitamins or placebo. And if you look at the blue here, what you're seeing is that the higher was the, ignore the blue. What you're seeing here is that in total, not shown here, he got 53% less brain shrinkage. But when he went back to the results and split the group into high and low omega-3 level in the blood, so they didn't give omega-3, they just looked at the level in the blood at the beginning of the trial, they found on the left that the B vitamins did not work. There's no difference in the low omega-3 group. But on the right, what they found was not the average, which in this case was 53% less shrinkage. They found 73% less shrinkage in those people given B vitamins with, we assume, sufficient or higher levels of omega-3 in the blood. The dotted line is important because that is the rate of brain shrinkage you see in perfectly normal older people with no loss of cognitive function. So we're looking at pretty much an elimination of any further cognitive loss. And that is, in fact, what happened. No further cognitive decline. And 30% of these people ended up with a clinical dementia rating of 0. On an 18-point scale, they had no score at all. Best drug that just came out reduced the dementia, clinical dementia rating by 0.45 of a point, less than half a point. And here we have 30% with no score at all. Now that woke people up. They thought, oh my God, maybe the B vitamins only work if you have sufficient omega-3. So a very big study in Holland called B-Proof, which had really found only modest benefits from B vitamins, went back, looked at their frozen blood samples, and sure enough, they found exactly the same thing. The people with the high level of omega-3 DHA had a massive improvement from the B vitamins, while the people with a low level of omega-3 DHA had no improvement. And then another trial, and this time in Sweden, which had failed despite giving a little bit over 2 grams, or you can think of it as 2 capsules of omega-3 fats, started to think, well, maybe this has got something to do with the B vitamins. If you don't have enough B vitamins, your homocysteine goes up. So what they did was they looked at those with the lowest homocysteine below 11.7, which is about the level above which you get brain shrinkage, versus those with a higher level above 15.7. And again, they find exactly the same thing. Massive clinical improvement in people given omega-3, provided the homocysteine level is lower, which means they've got sufficient B vitamins. Then a study comes out in China. In this case, they're giving people folic acid or omega-3 DHA. Folic acid is FA in this graph, or placebo. And what they find is it's really only that group that are given both the B vitamins, in this case folic acid, and omega-3 DHA, that have a significant improvement. Then another study in France, which gave omega-3 and didn't find much benefit, went back and looked at their results, and once again, they found that those with the lowest homocysteine actually did have a significant improvement. Then another study, which I really liked, which invented a nutritional risk index. So basically the issue here was they measured homocysteine, they measured red blood cell omega-3, they measured vitamin D. If you are high, e.g. bad in homocysteine, you get 1 score. If you were low, e.g. bad in omega-3, you get another point. And if you were low in vitamin D, you get another point. So 3 out of 3 is the worst and 0 out of 3 is the best. So it's an index. And what they actually found was the combination of having high homocysteine, bad B vitamin status, and low omega-3 was by far the most predictive of cognitive decline. I think there's a good case to add a measure of sugar, and we call that the HbA1c, or glycosylated hemoglobin. So we're starting to understand, by the way, it's sort of so obvious, which is this is a systems-based disease. There'll never be one drug, there'll never be one nutrient, because we have a whole interaction between your cognitive exercise, be it physical exercise, social exercise, intellectual exercise, plus structure, omega-3s, B vitamins, plus fuel supply. We're talking here about sugar, diabetes, insulin resistance, and so on. So there's just been a recent systematic review and meta-analysis. What does it find? Once again, significant benefits in studies which include both omega-3 and B vitamins. So all of this is against a backdrop where we've seen B vitamins in those with higher omega-3 reduce brain shrinkage by 73%. Best drug to date is 2%. The B vitamins have reverted 30% to a 0 score on clinical dementia rating. And this latest drug, lecanemab, has actually produced a 0.45 point difference on an 18-point scale. It is just statistically significant because the study is very big. The bigger you make a study, the more you can see the changes. So it's really minimal. So where we're at in terms of the actual science is we know that B vitamins on their own can modify the disease process in mild cognitive impairment or pre-dementia, but really only in those who have raised homocysteine, lack of B vitamins. And by the way, I should point out that aspirin interferes with the B vitamins. So some trials on cardiovascular disease where everyone was given aspirin didn't show the effect. So we need to bear that in mind. Also, the effect is much stronger in those with good omega-3 status. Of course, we urgently need a trial of B vitamins and omega-3, but nobody seems to want to fund trials that do not lead to a patentable drug. And just to remind you that the best meta-analysis and systematic review of 296 studies, of which 152 were randomized controlled trials, by Professor Jintai Yu from Fudan University in Shanghai, who's a member of our scientific advisory board, shows that at this point in time, even without the omega factor, the homocysteine lowering treatment with B vitamins seems the most promising intervention for Alzheimer's disease. So we've got tons of evidence. It's very, very strong. It's easy for people to do. And the best first step for member of the public, and please tell everyone you know over 40, go to foodforthebrain.org, click on the link, do the cognitive function test, then fill in the questionnaire that works out your risk, shows you exactly what you can do. Alzheimer's is a preventable disease. Less than 1% is caused by genes.